Alright guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to graph a quadratic equation in standard form. And when we say standard form, we are talking about y equal ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay. We learn how to graph the equation using your calculator. We also use the calculator after we got the graph. We have to find the minimum or the maximum. It depends on whether the parabola opens upwards or downwards. And then we have to find the zeros, which is the x-intercept on the graph. Okay. So those are a few things that we learn how to graph quadratic equations using our graphing calculator. But now, what if we want to graph the equation without using the graphing calculator? So here is an example that we've been working in class. Okay, so let's take a look at the equation that we worked in class today and yesterday. Is y equal x squared, okay, plus 10x plus 21. So this is the equation that we work on in class for the last couple of days. Okay, it depends on what block you guys have me. Okay, so how are we gonna go and graph this equation without a graphing calculator? Well, so first things first, in order for us to graph the equation, we have to go solve for the equation. And to solve for this equation, we have to factor the equation first. So here is how we gonna go ahead and factor this equation. So first we're gonna take this equation y equal x squared plus 10x plus 21. Okay, so we're gonna have x squared plus 10x plus 21. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this equation and we're gonna set it equal to 0. So we solve for this equation by setting the equation equal to 0. So it means we're trying to solve for x. So it means we're finding the zeros. Okay. So the question right now is like, what are the x-intercepts for this equation by setting the y equal to 0? Okay. So once we set this equation equal to 0, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this equation to see if we can factor this. Okay. So our first thing we're gonna try to do is gonna see if we can factor this equation. The equation. Okay, well, we look at this equation. Okay, you gotta remember to factor this equation. First things first, is a trinomial. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw myself two sets of parentheses. Okay, so one way to factor the x squared is gonna be x times x. Okay, and remember I told you the trick. If the third term is a positive, we're going to go to the middle, and if the middle term is a positive, so they're both going to be positive. Why? Well, because a positive times a positive is a positive. Okay, and the middle is a positive, so they're both positive. If the middle is a negative, then they're both going to be negative. And we're going to talk more about what happened if the 21 is not a positive, but what happened if 21 is a negative. So we're going to say that for another lesson. But for today, if the third term is a positive, then the middle term is a positive, then they're both going to be positive. So now we're going to ask ourselves, okay, what are the factors of 21? What are the two numbers, A and B, that multiply together give you 21? But when you add them, it's going to give you 10 in the middle. So we know it's going to be 7 and 3. 7 and 3. So 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times x is 7x, x times 3 is 3x, and then 7x and 3x is 10x. So that's going to give me 10x in the middle. So we can always FOIL it out to make sure that it's the right answer. So, and again, we did in class, this is the factor of this equation, x plus 7 times x plus 3. Then we're going to take the factor, okay, x plus 7 and then x plus 3. We're going to take each one of this. Okay, I'm going to take x plus 7. I'm going to set it equal to 0. And then we're going to take x plus 3. We're going to set it equal to 0. Why are we setting equal to 0? Because we're trying to find the zeros, okay? This is the y right here. This is the y, and this is another y. And when we say that for quadratic equation, we should have two solutions if the parabola is going to cross the x-axis at 2 points. So now to set this equation equal to 0, we're going to go ahead and solve for x. So to solve for x in this equation, all we have to do is use the inverse operation to get x by itself. So we're going to have to go subtract the 7. So bring the 7 over here by subtracting it. So that's going to give you x equal to -7. You're going to do the same thing over here. Let's set the x plus 3 equal to 0. And we're going to use inverse operation to get x by itself. Subtract the 3. So x is going to equal to -3. Okay. So these are the two zeros. Okay. These are the two zeros of the quadratic equation of x squared plus 10x plus 21. Okay. Now, if we go back to the equation, we know that the 21, positive 21, is the c term. And this c term right here is going to be your y-intercept. Y-intercept. Okay. Y-intercept. Okay. So now I have the y-intercept. I have the zeros, the two zeros, or the two x-intercepts. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can graph this equation using everything that I have so far. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my coordinate. Okay, it's my y-axis. My equation, the y-intercepts can be 21, and it opens upwards. And based on this, b is positive 10 and the a's are positive, so I know the graph's gonna shift to the left. Okay, so I need more unit on the left, actually on the left than the right. So let me try to move this over here a little bit. There you go. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna go ahead and draw my x-axis. Here it is. All right, my y-intercept is 21. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to plot the y-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I'm going to go for each one of this right here. I'm going to go by 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, okay, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So my y-intercept's 21. So it's going to be right here. Okay, that's my y-intercept. So that right there is 0, 21. That's my y-intercept. Okay. So double check it again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 21 is right in the middle. So that's where the parabola is going to cross on the y-axis. So my y-intercept is 21. Okay, now go back to what we did earlier. We factored the equation, and then we set each of the factors equal to 0 to find the zeros on the x-axis when y equal to 0. Later on, we're going to introduce what we just did was we used the zero product property. Okay, so the first x-intercept or the first zero is going to be -7. So over here, I'm going to have -1, -2, -3, okay, -4, -5, -6, and -7. there's my -7. -7. Okay. So my 0 is going to be at -7 and -3. So now we know that the parabola is going to open upward with the y-intercept is 21, and my 0 is going to be at -3 and -7. So I kind of know that my parabola is going to look something like this. Okay, it's going to look something like that. Okay, but it's hard for me to draw the parabola because as of right now I only know 3 points on the parabola, so I need more points. And remember, we're talking about parabola since the zeros at -3 and -7, so we know that the axis of symmetry, the line of symmetry of the parabola, is going to be between -3 and -7. Okay, so what point that go in between -3 and -7? Okay, what point that go in between -3 and -7? So you can count. We can go to the left one, to the right one, and then left one, and then right one. So from here I know that the axis of the line of symmetry is going to be right on -5. Okay, so my -5 is going to be the axis of symmetry, okay, when x equal to -5. And I'll say it again, the axis of symmetry is the line that divides the parabola into 2 equal halves. Okay, so it's going to be between -3 and -7. So x is going to equal to -5 right there. Okay, so now I don't know how low this parabola is going to go down before it turns up again. Okay, because we know it's going to open upward because the a is positive. Okay, a is equal to 1 because positive. But hey, I think I should be able to find out how low this parabola is going to go down before it turn up again, because I know what x is. Okay, so I know that x is equal to -5. So how do I find out the output if I know what the input is? Well, if the input is -5, how do we find out the output? So what you can do is you can take the -5 and you can put it back into the equation over here. So you got y equal -5 squared plus 10 times -5. Plus 21. Well, -5 squared is 25. And then 5 near 10 times -5 is going to be -50. Plus 21. 25 minus 50 is -25. And -25 plus 21, that will give me -4. So when x equal to -5, y equal to -4. So I'm going to go ahead and plot the point -5, comma -4. And that will be my vertex. That will be my minimum for this equation. So -5, -4. So to -2 and -4. So -4 will be about right there. Again, so this is going to be my minimum, and that will be -5, comma -4. Okay, there you go. So now I have pretty much everything I need to sketch my parabola. Okay, so it's gonna go down from here. All right, and it's gonna touch this point, which is my minimum, and then it's gonna pick up. Okay, and don't forget, it's going to cross the y-axis as 0, 21. That's going to be my y-intercept. Okay, sorry, I'm using a mouse, so it's kind of hard to sketch that curve perfectly or nicely. So that right there is going to be the graph of my equation. And of course, you can